Wednesday, the government announced an oversubscription of the Kenya Pipeline Company shares following the much publicized IPO. But as they say, the devil is in the details. First, the privatization of the Kenyan pipeline has been a topic that dominated public discourse for the better part of the year 2025. Many questions were posed, many loaded in suspicion that particular government functionaries were intent at cutting a piece of the KPC cake. But then the government took the sale through the required process, getting Parliament's nod in October 2025. By December, a transaction advisor had been found and the sale commenced on the 19th of January. For over a month, there were public messages put out. Private messages too were sent out to CDSC account holders, commercial banks to their customers, all in a bid to have Kenyans own a piece of the Kenya pipeline. And when time was running out, a 3-day extension was secured. Let's look at the outcome. Out of an allocation of 20%, equivalent to 2.3 billion shares reserved for Kenyan individuals, only 464 million shares bids were received. This translates to 3.9% of total shares on offer. 70,000 Kenyans, we are told, are reported to have sent in their bids, an average of 6,640 shares per person. In monetary terms, individual investors invested 59,000 shillings on average. The performance was worse for foreign investors. Out of an allocation of 20% of the sale, foreign bids accounted for 0.03% only. And the Cabinet Secretary now blames Kenyans for the negative review and comments of the KPC IPO.
The interest from foreign investors went down because Kenyans are too much about discrediting their processes, even the ones they don't understand. In Kenya, everybody is a valuer. Everybody is a lawyer. We are all legal experts. We are all accountants. We want to analyze P&L and balance sheet, and we are saying how balance sheet is inaccurate, and you never went beyond class 8. You never did any accounting.
Well, we can argue on whether academic achievement grants a Kenyan more power over the other in holding an opinion. But that would not be necessary. What is certain is that the government had an elaborate machinery to market the KPC IPO, replete with millions of shillings worth of advertising across most platforms you can think of. All that complemented by an excited political class that dominates the two houses of Parliament. They spent much of their time on microphones, hailing what a brilliant sale KPC IPO was, and how it was going to revolutionize the country's infrastructure once the National Infrastructure Fund is in place to receive the proceeds of the privatization. At the end of it all, only 4 billion shilling worth of investment was put in by Kenyans. Why? And what are Kenyans telling the government? Is it that they don't have money? Maybe not. And this is why. Towards the end of 2025, Safaricom Limited issued a green bond worth 15 billion shillings. It attracted a 276% subscription, translating to 41 billion shillings. Almost all the bids, at 96%, were from retail investors, meaning individuals who put in over 39 billion shillings at a minimum of 50,000 shillings per investor. That was just about 6 weeks before the KPC IPO opened. And now retail investors have put in 4 billion shillings only into KPC, a paltry 10% of what they did to the Safaricom bond. That should tell us something about investor confidence. That Kenyans are willing to bet with their wallets for what is clear, promising and devoid of politics. It's been 18 years since an extremely successful IPO of Safaricom, when the government of Kenya was selling off 10 billion shares, yielding a 532% of a subscription. Now, Kenya is a much expanded economy. More people have money and are more aware of how to invest their money. They are more educated anyway. And so when Kenyans choose not to invest into what is government's, it cannot be because they didn't study beyond the first 8 years of 844. It must be a deeper conversation that any discerning government should pick. It is about people's money, their wealth, and they will put it where they believe there is intention to grow an economy, not careers of proponents. That's my sense tonight.